Hey everyone, welcome back to the New Party Best of Edition. Tonight we're bringing you one of our biggest, most explosive episodes ever. The one that shattered our records with over 30,000 live viewers on March 10th, 2026. In this must-watch replay, we dove deep into the breaking news that had America talking. Is the 2026 military draft really coming? Pete Hegseth warned of the most intense U.S. strikes on Iran yet, and President Trump issued a strong warning to Cuba. All of these topics we're still talking about today, so how perfect for a best of night. We broke it all down with no filter, real talk, and the honest analysis you've come to expect from the New Party. If you missed it live, this is your chance to catch every moment. Smash that like button, drop a comment with other live viewers, letting us know you're watching our live replay. And let's see if we can beat that 30,000 record in the views. All right, America, here we go. Buckle up. Let's roll the show.
Emerged from this briefing as dissatisfied and angry, frankly, as I have from any past briefing in my 15 years in the Senate. I am left with more questions than answers, especially about the cost of the war. My questions have been unanswered, and I will demand answers because the American people deserve to know. And I guess I am most concerned about the threat to American lives of potentially deploying our sons and daughters on the ground in Iran. We seem to be on a path toward deploying American troops on the ground in Iran to accomplish any of the potential objectives here. And there is also, as disturbingly as anything else, the specter of active Russian aid to Iran, putting in danger American lives. Literally, Russia seems to be aiding our enemy actively and intensively with intelligence and perhaps with other means, and China also may be assisting Iran. So the American people deserve to know much more than this administration has told them about the cost of the war, the danger to our sons and daughters in uniform, and the potential for further escalation and widening of this war, a war of choice made by this president, not chosen by the American people, with potentially huge consequences to American lives.
جمال اینجا حملات موشکی ایران ادامه داشته. چندین بار امروز این آژیرهای خطر به صدا در آمد و آخرین بار که آژیر خطر به صدا در آمد حمله.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on this panel show are those of the individual speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of this channel, its affiliates, sponsors, or production team. This content is intended for informational and entertainment purposes only. Viewer discretion is advised. We encourage respectful dialogue and critical thinking around the topics discussed.
Party. Why I like the new party? Number one, it's a group of people that's on a panel. We all have differences, but we all basically still come together at the end of the day. The new party for me is about unity. The new party for me is about educating people to the truth, letting people know what's been going on in our country. With that being said, shout out to the new party, man. We're going to keep it going with y'all.
Welcome to the New Party. I'm Nora Christine.
I'm Gray Mar.
It's Mia.
I'm Kim.
And I'm the Ratchet Christian.
And we have a very, very special guest. The Ratchet Christian is here. So round of applause. She is comedian extraordinaire. She does conservative content. So definitely check her out. We will allow her, once we build up the room, to tell us about where to find her. But for now, guys, we have 4 ladies on the panel that covers political content. This is the only place you can find this on all of YouTube. Enzo must be running late from his stream, but he will be coming. So guys, hit that like button. I'm sorry, guys. I didn't know that first clip was in Hebrew, but pretty much that clip is explaining that things are being censored and it's pretty bad right now over there in Israel. So we definitely want to be talking about that and covering this. We also have information that came out this week showing images that we are now allegedly responsible for what happened to the kids in Iran. This is a clip of showing what Israel's looking like. These are scenes all over Israel where the bombs have hit them directly. Kimberly, while this is playing, can you explain about the censorship that you've been hearing?
So I've been reading reports that they're basically censoring Iran's attacks on Israel. So I'm not able to verify, except through commentators like Scott Ritter, about the alleged murder of Benjamin Netanyahu's brother and also the alleged serious injury of Ben Gvir. So, I mean, I've tried going on like DuckDuckGo and I've tried on my computer, and it's all just basically just rumors at this point. They're censoring Iran's attacks against Israel, and we're only really seeing Israel's attacks on Iran. And the morning news that I watched this morning, Breaking Points, Sagar did a really good explanation of history and how they did that with the Vietnam War. With the Vietnam War, they would always report all the deaths and all the bombings, like if we were winning the war. But then, we later found out through whistleblowers and the Pentagon Papers that wasn't true until we actually lost the war. And a lot of people smarter than I am are predicting that that's what's happening here now. We're going to have a similar situation like with the loss in the war in Vietnam.
Yeah, and guys, I'm showing images on the screen because Mia, you brought up that you feel like, I think when me and you talked privately, that they're censoring what's happening in Israel. What are you hearing as well?
I'm hearing that. So I actually, even on TikTok, I follow a lot of foreign, whether it's Great Britain, whether it's South Korea. I follow a lot of foreign news, and I jump into some of the lives where, they're live streaming their news or whatnot. We are being extremely heavily censored here, like extremely heavily censored. If you don't got a VPN to get news from outside the United States sphere, you're not going to know what's going on. And I think they're doing this for a reason, because the publicity and the public eye has turned so negative toward this. They're not going to win that. There's no way they're going to frame this war as something the American people want. Over 80%. I think 73% of Americans don't agree with this conflict. Even if we don't call it a war, we'll call it a conflict at minimum.
Yeah, and I'm showing the aerial shots, guys, because it's important that we show the truth. The reality is, this is war, right? This is war. There was also a rumor that came out this week that Khamenei's son, who has taken over, has been unalived. However, I'm hearing that that's not been confirmed. So, I mean, this is what happens in war. Lots of rumors. We're seeing it even in the 21st century. Imagine what it was like 100, 200 years ago. But I'm seeing images come out of Iran, and Iran looks okay. Let's play it.
A quick break for a coffee along the way. We've been driving for several hours. There's a couple of things that we've noticed. Number one is that, first of all the shops are open. All the shops are really well stocked, even with fresh things, like, for instance, fruits and vegetables. Coffee, obviously, also available as well. And then also the gas stations. There's no long lines as gas stations. Fuel seems readily available, and you just don't see any sort of degree of panic anywhere.
Asma, my beautiful guest, what is your thoughts and what are you hearing about the war in Israel, war between Iran, Israel, and the United States? What are we not seeing?
Man, I don't even know where to begin, honestly. It's really hard to to form a full, concise, and well-informed opinion on all of this, because there is misinformation and disinformation and overwhelming amount of information coming from all sides, that I actually get to a point, with all this where I don't I don't know what to believe. I don't know what's true. I don't know whose motives are good or whose intentions are right. And so I'm just trying to, stay out of a state of confusion and apathy. All I do know is that I personally don't agree with the war. I voted for Trump because he said no more forever wars. He spoke so passionately about what happened in Afghanistan and Iraq. And, I risked it all because I wanted to follow this president who I felt like really got it and really understood that being at war for the past 20 years did not benefit the American people. And so I thought I was voting for someone who was going to shift his attention from forever wars to focus on what was happening here, and to really just see a continuation of what has been is very disappointing. And I would even say slightly embarrassing. Like I'm embarrassed, with all of this that's been going on with him striking Iran, and even things. I feel like this started with what happened in Venezuela. I think because people cheered that on, and it was like a temperature check for our support of conflict overseas. I think that was the litmus test of what the American people were going to accept. And because we're so split about that being okay and people even celebrating it, then they kind of got the okay to go into Iran. And at the beginning of all of this, the news from all sides was very mindful to show us that, the people in Iran, like, they're happy about this. They've been harming their protesters. Like, they want this. And the people in Venezuela, and that's fine. The people of those countries, they can want their leaderships overthrown, but we don't have to do it. And we don't have to pay for it. And we shouldn't be over there. I am an America first conservative. And so I'm really disappointed that we're involving ourselves in yet another conflict, no matter what the reason is. And, from the things that I've gathered from other political commentators, I love Jeffrey Sachs. I listen to Tucker Carlson a lot. He's had him on a few times, and he's talked about this Greater Israel Project. And truthfully, I believe this is a part of that. There was a list of 7 nations that this nation wanted to go to war with. And we have gone to war with most of those nations, this being one of them. And so for me, I just see an overarching 30-year plan or foreign policy that benefits a specific country that no matter who's president, we've been on board with. And I heard another political commentator who was also on Tucker Carlson. No, it was Thomas Massey. Congressman Thomas Massey, he was talking about how when Biden was in office, or in Afghanistan, starting way back then, we were spending about an average of $50 billion every year at war in a foreign country. And so we pulled out of Afghanistan and Iraq, but that $50 billion still needed to be spent. So what did we do? We went to Ukraine. Okay, and now things are slowing down in Ukraine. And now that that's slowing down, the $50 billion still needs to be spent because we have an industrial complex surrounded around war. Now we're going into another war. And so it just seems like that money has to be spent. We have to use the weapons that we make, even if it's just for our entertainment or whatever it is that it may be. Maybe not for our entertainment, maybe for, empire building, whatever it may be. I'm just really, really disappointed, and I'm embarrassed because this is not what I voted for. This is not what I wanted. I don't see how this puts the American people first in their day-to-day lives. And you can't convince me otherwise. You can't convince me, we have to do a preemptive strike. We have to go and get them before they come and get us, because it's like, I'm old enough, I'm in my 30s, I've lived long enough now to have watched what happened in Afghanistan and the weapons of mass destruction and all these things. And we're on the other side of that, and we're reflecting and knowing that we could have done better. So you're not going to convince me that we're going to go in the Middle East and do the same thing again and have different results. It's silly, it's stupid, the propaganda is not working, and I'm really disappointed. I'm really disappointed.
Gray, I'm going to play this clip for you and get you in here. Pretty much, this is basically explaining and showing what it's looking like as far as the protests go and what reporters are seeing inside Iran.
Hi, everyone. I'm here live from the streets of Tehran. It's 3 a.m. right now, and people have just heard of the news of the new supreme leader being elected. And I'm just going to show...
Oh, Lord. Here we go.
The streets of Tehran. Make sure to send this to Trump and his dirty, filthy media. So this is just a normal random street from Tehran. I'm not making this up. It's 8th March, 3 a.m. in the morning. People are out here And you can look at the crowd here, absolute massive crowd. Trump said that Iranians want to come out against the regime, and you see the protesters of the regime and all of these regime propagandists who have come out at 3 a.m. in the morning celebrating the election of Ayatollah Mustafa Khamenei as their supreme leader. We see it's not like all of these are religious people. Western media would tell you these are religious people. Just look at these modern women who are standing here. They're not religious people. They're just random normal people. And make sure to send this to all of this dirty Western media that is showing you absolute bullshit day and night. And people like us get labeled as regime propagandists. And I don't know what to say.
Gray, what's your thoughts on the images we're seeing? Do you think this drives the point that they want us to free them, or do you think it disproves it?
I think it disproves it. I think some of the people in the U.S. probably are more happy about what happened with the leader being killed. And if you know Islam, Muslims aren't allowed to harm another Muslim. At least that's what they say. So for someone from the West to basically do it, I don't think that that's something they would necessarily be happy about. It's going to be mixed opinions. Like something happened to Trump, obviously some people would be happy, but some people would be really upset. So it's going to be on both sides. But I have heard that Western media is bringing up stuff that isn't being said in international news, and they're saying that there are more soldiers that have been hurt, American soldiers, and they just released that 140 to 150 U.S. troops were actually injured in Iran.
Yeah. I mean, the numbers are changing. First, we heard 1 week, then we heard 4 weeks. Now we're hearing summer. So people are scared, guys. Just because we're expressing our fear doesn't mean we still don't support our country. We still don't support the president. If you said you're not scared, to me, I don't know. Either you're not informed, you're not clearly thinking. I don't know what to tell you, because now they're also saying that sleeper cells have been activated. But leading up to this, we found out something regarding a rumor that MAGA and conservatives disavowed and said wasn't true. Now we're hearing reports we've admitted to this.
This war with Iran has been underway. The deadliest incident of civilian casualties was a strike that happened on an elementary school in southern Iran that killed scores of children. Tonight, a CNN analysis of that attack reveals evidence suggesting that the United States military was likely responsible for it. Oh. What you're about to see is disturbing. I want to warn you. The United States says it's still under investigation. But this was the scene at the school just after the strikes 1 week ago, nearly. CNN has not independently confirmed the death toll, but Iranian health officials and state media believe that at least 168 children and 14 teachers were killed. Our analysis, which is based on satellite imagery, geolocated videos, and the assessment of munitions experts, suggests that the school was hit around the same time that an attack that American forces had launched on a neighboring Iranian naval base. This new satellite image shows several Revolutionary Guard buildings near the all-girls school. You can see how close they are. In red, you can see the craters at the center of the structures, including the school, and what experts say look like precision strikes. A wall, marked by that dotted line there, is all that separates the school and this base. When asked about the strike this week multiple times during multiple different press briefings, this is what Trump administration officials have told reporters.
Did the United States airstrike a girls' elementary school and kill 175 people?
Not that we know of, Sean, and the Department of War is investigating this matter, and I would just tell you very strongly, the United States of America does not target civilians, unlike the rogue Iranian regime that targets civilians, that kills children, that has killed thousands of their own people in the past several weeks, and uses propaganda quite effectively, and unfortunately many people in this room have fallen for that propaganda.
Can you give us an update on what the administration knows, what you know now about the reported strike on a girls' school in southern Iran on Saturday?
All I can say is that we're investigating that. We, of course, never target civilian targets, but we're taking a look and investigating that.
Now, the internet blackout in Iran has made it very difficult for our teams to examine weapons fragments that are left at the scene for further evidence of responsibility. Reuters reports, though, that U.S. military investigators also believe it is likely U.S. forces were behind that strike.
Sorry, guys, 1 second. Too much going on here. Okay, so we're hearing about this strike. Kimberly, initially, Xavier, who was a big MAGA content creator, made a video. We actually played it. He, SBT, Simple Black Theory, who's a part of our Monday team, The Man Cave. Check it out. Check him out. Check it out. He debated Andre on Sunday. If you guys haven't seen that stream, please go back and watch it. Highly entertaining. It was on Black Fatigue, but nevertheless, he said that this wasn't true, that it's a rumor. And then I'm also hearing that there was a Iranian base next door. What is your response to MAGA and people? I don't even want to loop in Americans. What is your response to the American government saying the reason why this happened was because there was a base next door? Because again, we got to stop with the left-right rhetoric, guys. We would not be in this situation if we cut a lot of that shit out, because this is why they're doing the things we're doing, because they know that people on the right, we are going to defend Trump and everything he's doing. And that's what they're banking on. So without removing that rhetoric, I got to remind myself, what is your response to the government?
Yeah, they're trying to justify the human shields, right? To justify murder, they're using the same excuse as human shields. I would expect nothing less from the United States government and the military. That reporting remains to be verified, but there's also reporting that the way that they chose that specific site with the next door military base with next to the girls' school was allegedly picked by AI. So they're going by like AI algorithms telling them like, hey, where do we strike? Because they're just such a fucking mess. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They have no strategy. They're just trying to, well, already have started a freaking war. But the expense of that, like we see, is, human lives. So that's what we get out of it. They're going to kill children. They're going to kill people. And also, by the way, they're over there claiming they're going to bring democracy to Iran. You're going to turn those people who you're trying to save against you. You're killing them. You're killing their children. You're killing their families. And these sleeper cells and is what, that could be true or not. It's what the CIA even themselves call blowback, right? So when we go and kill Black and brown people all over the world, then they're going to respond. They're not going to like us. We're the ones going out wrecking havoc all over the world. Now at the behest of Israel, to bounce back off of what the Ratchet Christian was talking about, the clean break strategy. Iran is the last country off of the 7 countries that they've been attacking over the last 30 years. At what expense? At our expense, at the expense of the middle class. It's expensive. It's what makes us less safe. It's completely illogical, and it's also immoral and humane. So anybody excusing the death of children, really, you need some shrooms or Jesus or something, honestly. I pray for you.
Yeah. So we're going to play a couple more clips, guys, and then we're going to go into the draft topic. I see that that's a very hot topic that everyone is concerned about. This is what they're saying regarding the new leader. Let's watch.
Supreme leader in Iran and a new call for resistance. And while toxic oil rains from the sky, Tehran's Gulf neighbors are hitting back. Under cover of airstrikes, Iran's clerics have chosen their new leader, sending a clear message to Israel and the US about where this war is going.
Ayatollah Sayyid Mujtaba Hosseini Khamenei Hafazahullah Ta'ala ra.
We continue to resist as long as it takes. Our dignity is not for sale.
In a pivotal moment in Iran's history, Mujtaba Khamenei was chosen to replace his father as Iran's supreme leader. He's viewed as a hardliner with close ties to the powerful Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, as well as political and business establishments. The 56-year-old cleric didn't just lose his father on the first day of the war. That airstrike on the supreme leader's residence also killed his mother, his wife, and his daughter. He now steps in to fill Iran's political vacuum and will look to unite the government, the clergy, and the Revolutionary Guard. All 3 have already pledged their support. The Supreme Leader is the most powerful political and religious figure in the country, with direct control over Iran's army and its IRGC. The decision to pick him to succeed his father signals hardliners are now in control. It signals continuity and defiance, and there's already been threats from some US lawmakers. Senator Lindsey Graham tweeted that it was a matter of time before he meets the same fate as that of his father. Meanwhile, on the ground, Iran is facing a growing environmental disaster. This black smoke you're seeing, it's oil mixed with rainwater after Israeli strikes hit energy infrastructure for the first time. Fuel depots, refineries, and petrochemical facilities were hit, igniting massive fires across Tehran and other industrial regions. Millions of people in the capital are now struggling with toxic air and rain, posing serious health risks. Iran's attacks on its Gulf neighbors have continued, as have the casualties. Yesterday, 2 people were killed in Saudi Arabia when an intercepted missile landed on a residential building. Another 2 people were killed in Kuwait. On Sunday, the Arab League met to condemn Iran's attacks, saying they've kept out of the war so far, though there are signs that could change. The United Arab Emirates released this footage showing its Air Force downing 2 Iranian drones that entered its territory. But perhaps the most concerning development to Gulf nations was a strike that damaged a water desalination plant in Bahrain. It came a day after an attack on Iran's Qashm desalination plant. The Gulf is one of the most arid regions on Earth, and smaller nations like Bahrain, Qatar, and Kuwait could run out of drinking water within weeks if their plants are destroyed.
فإنه لا يؤسفنا ما تعرضت له بلادنا العزيزة والدول العربية والشقيقة والدول الصديقة من اعتداءات غير مسبوقة لا يمكن تبريرها تحت أي ذريعة من قبل إيران.
In Israel, Iranian strikes appear to be more frequent and are causing destruction in central areas, including in Tel Aviv. Israeli officials have been saying Iran's missile capability has been degraded, but the IRGC says it can continue for another 6 months at the same pace. There also appears to have been an underestimation of Hezbollah's capabilities in Lebanon, with waves of rocket and drone launches, including an attack on a
So, Ratchet, what's your thoughts? Do the people of Iran want us to save them? Yes or no?
No. I mean, this is classic regime change war. I've seen it in my lifetime. They're pretty much following the same playbook. You know, how is America coming to bring freedom to your country when it's not even listening to its own citizens? What do we have to offer a country when our own government is not listening to us or providing the things that we need and prioritizing our needs with our own money? It's just simply not true, you know, and I always want to be politically correct and I want to talk around these topics, you know, so to not make others uncomfortable or to get myself banned. But honestly, when we're talking about war, I don't think there's a place to be polite or to be politically correct when people's lives are in danger. You know, I don't believe for a second that America struck that school by accident. I think we did it on purpose. I don't think that we can claim, oh, AI, we just didn't know. We have such capabilities as a country. We are so advanced at war that I don't believe that that's a mistake. I think it was intentional. And I think this whole dancing around it of like, well, you know, I want to support our government. I don't want to, they did it. And we're capable of doing something like that. And we would do something like that. I think we've crossed many lines when it comes to war. And we have no lines that we won't cross when it comes to war, especially when it comes down to protecting women and children. We're not doing that here. So if we don't have care for our own citizens when it comes to the Epstein files, which conveniently we're not talking about anymore because of this war, if we're not persecuting the people within our country who harm our women and children, who's to say that we won't harm the women and children of other countries? We have, we will, and I'm pretty sure we just did. And I refuse to pretend like we didn't. I'm not going to play along with the media game of we don't know, we're investigating it. I think it was intentional. I think it was to rile up people and then to get the Iranian government worked up too and its surrounding nations. I support our troops. I'm married to a veteran. My husband is a veteran. You know, again, this is not about the American people. And I understand our soldiers are going to do the things that the commander-in-chief tells them to do. They may not have a choice in this matter, but our government shouldn't be making these decisions and putting our troops in danger. I support our troops. I love our troops, but I will never be for a war, cheer on a war. I am a survivor of a war. I was born in Sierra Leone. I emigrated to this country because there was a civil war in my country. I know what it's like to wake up to have tanks in front of my house. I walked 100-something odd miles from my neighboring country in Sierra Leone to Guinea. I've seen war with my own 2 eyes. And for a lot of Americans and most Americans, war is a theory. We have an ocean that separates us from anybody that will ever want to do us harm. But the people who we're engaging with do not. And so I will support our troops. I'm not going to pretend like our nation isn't doing what it's doing right in front of our eyes, because they are.
Well said, Ratchet. I brought you on the most perfect night. I only put on the screen to show a little bit of what's going on in the chat. If you guys are watching other places, please come follow us on YouTube at The New Party. But the chat is jumping tonight. Y'all want y'all chats on the screen, please send a super chat. But anything else, Mia or Gray, that you want to add? Because we're going to switch to the next topic.
I was going to say, I completely agree with Miss Ratchet Christian on everything she's saying. For me, it's like punching somebody in the face who hasn't done anything to me. It's like convicting somebody for a crime who hasn't really done the crime. I mean, a preemptive attack? What? So we're just killing people to kill them now because they may do something in the future, potentially. I mean, let's look at the evidence. Last June, Donald Traquan Trump stood on 10 tippy toes and told us that those bunker blasters worked, that we sent their nuclear program back decades, that everything was good. We hit all of the targets. We don't have to worry about it. We are safe. So 9 months later, now we're not safe. Now the same bunkers that we destroyed with our bunker busters, all of a sudden they rebuilt, which isn't possible. It's literally not humanly possible to rebuild all of those sites within 6 months. This is not possible. So somebody's lying here. And so many people seem to not have that kind of discernment. So was Trump lying last year? Was that footage just fake? Or who's lying now? Because last year he said we were fine. Last year he destroyed those bunkers. Last year he destroyed those nuclear underground facilities and everything was fine. But now we're not. Now they're 2 weeks away, even though we destroyed those facilities and they showed us proof on TV. And I'm saying proof loosely. So what's going on here? Who's lying? And then we need to stop acting like us going in this conflict. First was what? A week? Now it's 4 to 6 weeks. Now it's till September. I mean, the timeline keeps moving. It just the goalpost keeps going. It was 7 days. Then it was 4 weeks. Then it was 6 weeks. Now it's September. I don't get it. Why are we moving the goalpost? If this isn't a war, if it's not a conflict, why do we need to be there longer? And then what are we going to do? There's 90 million people in Iran. 90 million. And I can guarantee you 45 million of them are Ayatollah supporters, right? So we just killed their commander. They put a new one up there. So now if we decide to regime change, we have to physically go in there and set somebody up. We have to quarantine them. We have to build them a fucking castle. And then we have to stay for security guarantees because we can't just put a random person in there with 45 million people who hate them, who are going to take their country back because these people have grown up in this system for almost 50 years. So you guys in the chat are a bunch of idiots. It's not simply dropping bombs. Now we have to go in and we have to provide security for the new regime we set up. And then we're talking about a landmass that on 3 sides is mountains. I've seen you fucking people. You guys can't climb a mountain. I've seen you guys, all right? You guys are flatlanders. You can't climb a mountain. Okay. Over 80% of the American fighting force comes from corn-fed Midwest and down south. Baby, there ain't nothing but meth mountain down there. You guys aren't fighting in the mountains.
Yeah.
So here we are. What are we doing now?
Perfect segue, Mia. Perfect segue. Is the draft coming? I'm going to let Greg kick it off first once I play Mia's clip. So here we go. Let me add this to the screen. Guys, if you're watching, please hit the like button. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe to our channel. We appreciate all the support and love and watching tonight.
Do you think eventually there will be a need for boots on the ground? I would not exclude it for those reasons or other, but we'll have to see how it goes forward.
And will that include Israeli boots on the ground, do you think?
I exclude nothing.
I saw that on TV.
We've been waiting for 47 years, and we came to a point with every necessary means should be taken in order to achieve our goals.
What we're seeing from, do you think eventually there'll be...
Did you freeze?
Sorry, this individual Gray they're saying that he is a former Israeli defense minister. Benny Gantz declares that he won't rule out American boots on the ground in Iran. I have other clips that mention it as well. So we'll get to that. As somebody who's actually had boots on the ground in our Iraqi freedom war, what is your thoughts now that we are going to be sending Gen Z, the next generation after us, to go to this war? Are we prepared? Do you think that all these people hollering will sign up for the draft? What's your thoughts?
Well, I remember, I don't know if they still do this now, when I turned 18, that you had to like fill out a form, like basically saying that you're qualifying to be drafted. I was already going to the military, but I do specifically remember doing that. Do I know if it's going to be a draft? I'm not sure, because during the Iraqi freedom war, basically they was giving out a bunch of money. If you signed up for 8 years and you were infantry, they would give you $80,000, but you had to complete that entire term to get that money. So they would spoon-feed you a little bit of that. So they do spend money. So I don't know if they're going to actually have to like get people to draft. And they offer, college reimbursement. They offer a lot of things to try to get soldiers in there. So I'm not sure about the draft, but I did want to say, nobody brought up Russia, and Russia, Trump is saying that he may possibly lift sanctions, and people are saying that he's talking about Russia. And Russia also was getting drones from Iran fighting in Ukraine. And so Ukraine is now not getting a lot of help because of this fight in Iran. So it's a possibility that this is going to affect Ukraine.
Well, they're already required to sign up for inscription in Israel. So who knows? Maybe we'll get that from our greatest ally. Maybe that's something that they'll be enforcing here. Maybe that's the direction we're going in. Somebody has to fight this war, y'all. I'm just saying, somebody has to go fight this war, honey. And we all know these rich people that are voting for this are not going to send their children. But we got lots of clips.
That?
Sure.
That's how they entice. And that's why I'm very quick to always point out that I don't attack military members and I don't shame them or blame them or voters. That's how they lure in the lower and middle classes into the military, off of not just lies, but honestly just freaking Satanism at this point. And I just want to add, because it's very important to me, but Iran has some of the most ancient, most beautiful architecture and buildings in the world. Is the same as when they were attacking a lot of the holy sites in Iraq, which includes the majority of ancient Mesopotamia. I think those are the greatest crimes against humanity, when they erase our humanity, our collective humanity, because we're all humans. And it breaks my heart when I see them attacking ancient buildings like that. There's a mosque in Jerusalem that all Muslims, Shia and Sunni Muslims, believe was where, I might get this wrong, Abraham ascended. And a lot of Jewish people also believe that before it was a mosque, it was like their holy site to something else. But everybody involved, all the bad people, were aware that the Shia Muslims, which are the ones that are activated in jihad, when you attack or martyr their leaders, which we did, that it would provoke a religious response. So sadly, this is how you get, the people who are actually going to physically fight and die in these wars to get personally invested at the expense of the rich pedophile freaking cannibalist elites. So just wanted to point that out.
Well, Kim, people do come back with that bag, because that $80,000 is on top of their regular pay. Not only that, if they die, you have a $400,000 life insurance policy. And when you're over there, you're being fed and they're taking care of you, so you're saving additional money.
You also get bonuses, right? You also got healthcare. You get bonuses. What?
It's a signing bonus. And if you're like me and one of my close friends is who or how I know Doc, you gotta gamble because a lot of soldiers gamble. You're gonna come back with a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Oh Lord! You had to add that.
Playing dice out
there. But yeah, well, this is what this is what they're saying about the draft. This is the press secretary and what she had to say.
Out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
So, guys, before I let somebody else go, while we have everybody in the chat, please come back tomorrow night. We will be having Mika, Pop Culture Mika, on tomorrow night. She was a part of Anton Daniel's team, so she will be coming to give her opinion. Also, this Sunday, we are hosting another debate. We will actually be talking about the rise of anti-Semitism with Gen Z, I mean. Enzo will be debating with someone that he works with on his team. I don't know the person's name. I think he's a mod for Opinionated Girl. So that Opinionated Girl, everyone probably knows who she is. We'll be debating Andre. Andre will be explaining why he doesn't think anti-Semitism is on the rise and explaining his position. So I see y'all are definitely in the chat feisty about that. So I had to add that in there. Ratchet, what is your thoughts on this draft, honey? Who's going to go fight? We asked the two young men, love Enzo, but he came with his friend. We asked both of them last week. We said, y'all are young. Are y'all willing to go sign up? They said, one of them said, it was honest. He said, look, I can't sign up. I got too many problems, honey. Enzo said, look, I don't have to sign up to support the war. So this is the Opinionated with Gen Z. They don't want no parts, or they don't want to sign up. What do you think?
Well, I think that this is Israel's war, so they should fight it. Like I said, no holds barred. I'm not going to be politically correct. This is not our war. It's their war, and we're, enacting it for them. But I don't think American soldiers should go and die for Israel's war. I think send all of the IDF first, and then when they run out of those people, they should send their civilians, and then when they run out of their civilians, then the war is over.
Also, I fully support sending all the MAGA people proposing war as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the one thing about MAGA and the Conservative Party, and what I did like is the fact that we love our country. And in loving our country is a part of being willing to lay down your life for it. Like I said, I'm married to a veteran. I'm married to somebody who has served our country. But it needs to be an honorable cause, and it needs to be a cause for our country that benefits our country in some kind of way. And I don't see this being that. As far as Gen Z joining the draft, I feel like, as a society, we've harmed our own citizens, poisoned our own citizens, whether it's with the food and the water, or, ideology about gender. Like, are we mentally and physically fit to be drafting people right now? How many people are on SSRIs? How many people need mental health medication, in Gen Z? And I love Gen Z. I love them as a generation. I feel like as a whole, a lot of them are coming back to God, and they've been fed or handed a lot of things that aren't fair to them. And so to then also require that they go and fight a war that they largely don't agree with, I think it's a nonsense. And I've been seeing a lot of this talking points with Carolyn Levitt, who I used to really like too. I used to like her so bad. I thought she was like, oh, Legally Blonde, this girl's so cute, she's feisty. But it's like, to see the propaganda coming out of her mouth is actually quite scary. I know it's her job to be able to do it with a straight face, but wrap it up as like, oh, Donald Trump is being wise. He's not ruling out the possibility of like boots on the ground and framing it as a good thing is very just dangerous. You know, there is no wisdom in that. We shouldn't be having boots on the ground anyways, because we ain't got no business being there.
Just yesterday, you have been showing
that's one. And to wrap up my thoughts, because I know I'm sure you want to move on to another subject, but I had made a video on TikTok about this earlier where I feel like all of this is being done intentionally. You know, it's like it's a runaway train. And unfortunately, I don't see it stopping anytime soon because like I personally feel like this is part of the Great Reset. You know, they want to redo society and we're taking too long to give up our cash. We're taking too long to, you know, accept transgenderism or transhumanism. We're taking too long to go with the plans that they had for humanity. So they're just going to flatten everything and start over and bring in the cashless society that they want, bring in the Messiah that they want. So not only is it holy and spiritual and demonic, it's all of those things. And this is going in accordance with their plans for the Great Reset. They want to have a one world order. They want to have a one world government, and they want to have a cashless society. And they're going to flatten everything and start over whether we want to or not. So that's where we are. And I don't think you should send your kids to die for that.
Mm-hmm. Ratchet, do you follow Professor Jiang, Predictive History?
I've seen stuff. I don't quite follow him, but I'm familiar with his stuff.
I highly recommend him. Really,
I don't like him. I've heard stuff about him I don't like.
Oh, you have to tell me later.
I'll tell you. I'll tell you later what I heard about him. Yeah, you could like him, but he got some things wrong. But y'all go check him out. Make your own opinions.
You're kind of freezing, Nora.
In this next clip, we're going to play this clip right here. This is about what happens if we send our troops into Iran.
Is planning to send ground forces into Iran, and I will explain why this might be a catastrophic mistake, because Iran is not like Iraq, it is built like a fortress. Let's start with the west and southwestern side. Iran's entire western edge is protected by the Zagros mountain range. This mountain range stretches along the border with Iraq and reaches toward Turkey. The terrain here is rocky, high, and brutal. It is not just mountains, it is endless choke points, narrow passes, and perfect ambush territory. We have already seen what happens here when in 1980, Iraq invaded Iran. Iraq had a clear plan. It wanted to capture the oil-rich province of Khuzestan and then push deeper to crush Iran's revolution. Iraq had tanks, manpower, and support. But for years, the war got stuck. Iraqi forces reached the flatter areas near Khuzestan, but crossing the Zagros and moving toward Iran's core was a nightmare. And as a result, after 8 years, the war ended without a result. That is what the Zagros does. It slows down armies until they bleed. Now look to the north. Along the Caspian side sits the Alborz Mountains, another natural wall. These mountains make ground invasion from the northern side extremely difficult. So Iran is protected from 2 directions by mountain barriers. But even if a foreign army somehow crosses the coastline, fights through the mountains and enters Iran's interior, the geography becomes hostile again. Iran has massive desert regions, like the Lut Desert, which is known for extreme heat, as temperatures here can reach up to 70 degrees. This is not a terrain where large armies can move easily. It destroys vehicles, strains supply lines, and exhausts troops. This is why Iran has historically been so hard to conquer. Iran is not one open plain. It is layers of natural defenses, mountains, deserts, and long distances. So if America sends ground forces into Iran, it is not just choosing a war. It is choosing a war where geography itself fights back. And that is exactly how superpowers make catastrophic mistakes.
Okay, Grace. So as someone that actually served, Mia brought up some good points. Do you think that our boys will be able to truck up the mountains? Do you think that we will be sending them to slaughter when we drop them off in the middle of Tehran? It seems like only one way in, no ways out until we take control. What's your thoughts?
I'll say that we're probably going to see technological warfare. Somebody just put send robots in the comments. If you look at Ukraine versus Russia, where we see like these drones attacking each other, and they were already telling us when I was getting out of the military, they were like, oh, you need to go get a 4-year degree. So I feel like it's going to be work smarter, not harder. That's probably going to be the military plan. It's probably not going to be just meet it up. Because even when I was over there, it wasn't like we were like, okay, let's go meet up with these guys. Like it was, espionage. Like one of the persons I know that got deleted, it was a translator, and he he deleted a girl too, which makes it even worse, and a guy. But he was a translator. They took his family, and then they told him, hey, go on the base, delete these people, or we gonna do something to your family. Then he came, and he ended up hitting the captain and the lieutenant. So it's gonna be like, it's guerrilla warfare, it's espionage. These people use IED explosives. They do like sneaky tactics. So I think it's gonna be a more technologically advanced, probably drones, probably stuff we don't even know about.
Yeah, that's a good point, Gray. But this is going to Ratchet's point. This is what Candace was saying, kind of along the lines of what Ratchet said.
Allow the Mark Levins, the Ben Shapiros to sign their offspring up instead. Allow the Christian Zionists, the ones who make videos, telling you how devilish it is if you don't support Israel. They believe this is messianic, that Bibi was sent to usher in Armageddon. That's going to bring Jesus back. I urge you, all of you Christian Zionists, sign up for the military today. Please, you guys, stop tweeting. Stop screaming about Tucker Carlson. You have something much more important to do. There's a messianic mission right now. Go to Iran. Go remove the thousands of dead, innocent Palestinian children from beneath the rubble in Gaza so that Trump can build his hotel. I want you guys to be the change that you wish to see in the world. You've got this.
Jesus.
Allow the goyim to stand down because you guys have the vision, you have the understanding. It's biblical.
So shameless plug, we actually do have a Zionist coming on Monday night show. Reverend Jordan Wells, good friend of the show. I love Reverend. He's my favorite Zionist out there. And so we're going to be asking Reverend some questions. Reverend, I want to know, will you be signing up for this war? What is the Greater Israel Project? Because I want to know answers to that. Why are Jewish people the chosen people? Because he's a reverend. He's going to break it down. So if you want to come back and hear Reverend's answers, please come back Monday night. We will also be having a debate again Sunday night on why is anti-Semitism on the rise with Gen Z. Kimberly, I would say you're the youngest, but you're really not. We're all the same age, but you look super young. What is your thoughts on Candace's clip? As you know, I know you're a Christian. What do you think? Do you think they're going to sign up? What do you think is happening?
I mean, I get, you know, she's being flippant, and I appreciate that, but I really would hate to send American troops. Unfortunately, that's what we're looking at. We're looking at ground troops. They're going to have to send boots on the ground eventually. We should send, but like, you know, in order of like importance, you know, start with, you know, the rich elites, all of those people voting for war, send their kids first. Send Barron Trump. Send all the people that are for war. If they happen to be Zionist Christians who believe in forcing the end time, which is not true because, you know, the prophecy of Israel was fulfilled when Jesus rose again. Amen. But yeah, send them all for sure. I'm with it. I mean, I say that in joke. I don't think we should be sending anybody, but unfortunately, it's going to be at the expense of the lower and middle class yet again, like we saw with Vietnam.
Can I say something
Go
to
ahead.
the comment?
Yeah.
All right. So this Donald guy says, I can't believe we still Saddam. We don't know why that Israel is God's chosen people. If Israel is God's chosen people, they can meet him first. They can be first in line, baby. If they are God's chosen people, maybe they can be first in line to meet him. It's okay. I'll let them go first.
A very good doctrine, the Holy Bible, that shows differing to that. I will be playing the clips. We will be going by scripture come on Monday night, and the Reverend can counter what the scripture says because the New Testament is very clear. But I ain't gonna say it. I'm gonna allow a Reverend. We're gonna have two Reverends, one in real life, one from the clips. Explain both. So come back, Donald. You might learn something. Sorry, keep going, Mia.
But like I said, if they're God-chosen people, and if he led them, he said God led Israel into wars and conquered those who stood in his way. Good, baby. Get to the front of the line. Boots right on the ground. Get to the front of the line, baby. You go. He loves you. I think you should go first. You said he leads, motherfuckers. Go let him lead you right over there. The rest of us can stay here.
Honestly, the idea of an earth. The idea of an Earth without like people who think a certain way sounds nice. Is that mean? But I mean, it seems nice.
Yeah, I mean, we're living in pretty wild times, really wild times.
It's just crazy to me. I will say, Nora, you and I have talked about this a few times. It is always the people that want war are always the ones that never sign up. A lot of the veterans I know, obviously they understand that Iran is an issue, and it has been an issue for a long time, and obviously potentially could be an issue in the future. But I have not seen a lot of veterans that are like, yeah, let's go. Let's go drop some bombs. Let's go waste some money. I know I have not met any in real life that I know personally, like I can validate their service, that think this is a great idea. And there is a reason that every president and since 1995 has not done it, because they all have some sense.
Donald said
a good idea.
He supports this, and he went during the first Iraq War. So Donald said he raises you one because he's.
Is that Desert Storm though? Because that only lasted like less than a month.
Yeah, you're right. So Donald, this ain't the same, boo. This ain't like before. Now we gonna be throwing them into the wolves in the mountains. But I have one more clip on this topic. This is from our favorite Lindsey Graham.
And we're going to win.
My favorite
in the United States, you just wait to see what comes in the next 2 weeks.
The next 2 weeks meaning what?
We're going to blow the hell out of these people. This regime is in a death row now. It is going to be on its knees. It's going to fall. And when it falls, we're going to have peace like no other time. We're going to have prosperity unlike anyone could ever imagine. Peace brings prosperity. You can't do it by talking. The Democrats criticize this operation. They didn't do a damn thing. These men and women in the military should make us all proud.
So Ratchet, it's easier said than done. He has no children.
I'm so glad, right? Because what I think about when I see people like Lindsey Graham, and then I see, you know, our president and the decisions that they're making within the next 10 to 15 years, you know, they're not going to have to live in the world that they're building. They won't be here. They won't be here to see through the actions. I mean, the consequences of the decisions that they're making right now. These are older men who have lived the fullness of their days. They're on their way out. They're on their way to stand before God, you know, and he's going to pass down their sentences. And to me, it's layered in that it's sad and that they're closer to the end of their lives than most of us are. And they're not worried about having to stand in front of God and answering for the decisions that they're making right now. But also these men are making decisions and building a world that they're not going to really live to see. We're going to, you know, by God's grace, live to see that. Our children are going to live to see that, but they're on their way out. So to me, it just kind of seems like they're trashing the place before they go. You know, if you know you got to move out of an apartment and you leaving, instead of leaving nicely, they're just dumping the whole place. They've gotten to enjoy the spoils of war. You know, war used to make sense for their generation because we would go destroy other nations and enrich ourselves. We've done that all over the world, that now there is no enrichment. We've ravaged so many other countries that it's like we don't really gain that much from war. So when he's talking about peace comes first and then prosperity, for what? We could prosper if we keep our billions of dollars here and focus on what it is that we have going on. There have been talks about invading Iran for the past 30 years, and for 30 years, they have not done anything to our nation. And so the fact that, it has to be done now, I feel like it's because these men know that they're leaving this earth. They're on the way out. And this generation that's coming up behind them, we don't want war. We don't need to meddle in the affairs of the Middle East. We don't need to destabilize the world and be the world bullies. We don't need to do regime change. We don't have to destabilize other countries to remain number one. And not only that, too, we're trying to destabilize the Persian Empire, mind you. Okay? That was here before the United States, and I'm sure will still be there after the United States. We're going
Mia has this gripe with the she said it's always the boomers that's doing this shit.
The boomers. It is always the boomers. It's always them.
It's they are the populace. y'all are about to go stand in front of God. It's the time is winding down on you. Okay. You need to make better choices. But I also, to even tie in Charlie Kirk, like, you know, this whole generation, our sentiments have been changing. And I feel like the urgency in what they're doing right now and wanting to finish this greater Israel project that they've started 30 years ago is because they know that everybody who started it is dying. The younger generation has no interest in continuing this nonsense because it hasn't proven to be beneficial to our country. They're not selling it to us well. They're trying to convince us that we should go and die for their war one last time before they die. It's not working. So
I would like to add, though, that this fight with Israel and Iran and Persia, Iran, aka in the Bible, if you read your Bible, it says Persia, has been going on for generations, centuries. And to her point, Iran has always come on top, y'all. Y'all need to go do y'all research, y'all history. There's a reason why they are one of the oldest civilizations. I don't know who's in Trump's ear. I really don't. I'm going to play this last clip. This is Kimberly's favorite person, whole favorite person.
Nick Fuentes.
In the whole world.
And this is what
he's starting to grow on me. He said he wants unity, so I'm good with that. Here we go.
If a single person is killed in a terrorist attack, that is the fault of Donald Trump in Israel. Period.
Sorry.
If a single person is killed in a terrorist attack, that is the fault of Donald Trump in Israel. Period. Full stop. I don't even blame the terrorist as much. You know who's responsible for blood being shed if there's terrorism? Number one, Donald Trump. Number two, Israel. Number three, the terrorist. And you want to know why? It's Donald Trump's job to put America first. And he knew bringing us to war would mean this. He knew that. And he keeps telling us. He says, it's a war. People die in a war. It's going to happen. So he signed those people's death warrants. The second that we started dropping bombs, he sealed the fate of Americans that will die in terror attacks, and he was okay with that. Never forget that. You're talking about Muslim migrants. Okay, they're fucking towelheads. What is the American president's obligation to his own people? The American president who ran on America first, Americans first, signed the death warrant of every person who is or will be killed overseas or in a terrorist attack because he knew this was inevitable. He knew there'd be collateral damage. He knew there'd be civilian casualties, and he did it anyway for Israel. And Israel knew it too, and they dragged us into the conflict. For them, it's an acceptable sacrifice. They're probably happy about it. And then you get the Muslims that are just unwitting pawns. They are just the instrument, as always. As always, the blacks, Muslims, the Indians, they're the instrument in this equation. They probably have the least agency out of all of them. So no, focus up. You talk about immigration doesn't work in an international conflict. Hey, who created the international conflict? Which country? Whose money? Which billionaires?
I gotta say this though. I remember, Gray, when we started doing the show, we talked about Nick, and me and D. White, who started the show with us, we were making fun of him. We're like, what a clown, what a crybaby. And I gotta say something. That little shithead got everything right. He said, do not vote for Trump. He said, because Trump is going to take you to war and have us leading the charge to Iran. And everything he said has been right. Gray, what do you think? I know you secretly like him.
Well, to respond to D. White said he was willing to give up his trucking business for Trump. So some of the stuff that the Trump supporters said that they were willing to give up for Trump was outrageous. As far as Nick Fuentes' career, it seemed like he started out. I remember first seeing him, I don't know, when they did the little thing in Charlottesville when they was carrying the torches. So he has transitioned, and I have listened to him, and he does say a lot of stuff that is intelligent, especially about foreign policy. As far as him having a career in politics or even just commentating, he said so many racist things. I think that's just killed his whole image. But hey, whatever, if y'all like it, we love it. Mia's the one that said, oh, well, we don't give up Charlie Kirk for Nick Fuentes, but seemed like Nick Fuentes became a Democrat now.
Well, I told
also,
you.
Nick Fuentes is not Mexican. He is disowned. Nick Fuentes is not Mexican. He can drop his last name.
Well, I told you, Nick, what? I called it after they killed Charlie. I said Nick Fuentes is going to rise up in the power vacuum and be the new voice. And he, outside of everybody I've seen, I would say he is the new voice, whether we like it or disagree. But if you look at the amount of people watching his streams and all of that stuff, and the just the sheer amount, I would say he won the power vacuum.
Also, I might add, for no reason
the
at all.
Groypers are coming for us. The Groypers said we have fan mail coming. Please send it to Gray's house. He loves to brag that he's the founder.
Remember that I said that I like her.
Please.
I just want to add, for no reason at all, this is not meant to anybody specifically, but it's okay to be gay. There's nothing wrong with being gay. We can biblically affirm our LGBTQ, Lindsey Graham, Nick Fuentes, whoever, please. We love you. Please come out.
Hilarious. I think as
keep going.
I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm like, whether like you agree with his political views, one, I always respect people who are willing to speak their mind and speak it to the fullest, even if I don't agree. And then on top of that too, like the man's funny. He's funny. And whoever touched on there being a vacuum of leadership when they assassinated Charlie Kirk, it's absolutely that. America is looking for leadership, especially the younger generations. They're looking for somebody that they can follow and believe in. And in Charlie, they at least had somebody that they could control. And they didn't think beyond that, just like I feel like they're not thinking beyond Iran. Okay, we remove their leadership. Now what? Then what? And it's like no one really has an answer for then what, So as far as Nick Fuentes goes, he's Nick Fuentes, Let him be. Let him talk what he talks, and sometimes it'd be funny. I'm not even gonna lie. Yes, he's racist, but what's not hilarious about a Mexican white supremacist racist? It's like, come on now, the joke's right.
Who's celibate for some reason or abstinent?
And I love
He's
that.
a good Catholic. Leave him alone on that.
Okay.
Listen,
I'm
honey.
into Catholics. There's no such thing as a good Catholic.
I like
they all
Catholics.
sin and just do confessional and Hail Marys or whatever the Catholics do. They all sin. They just confess it to the Padre and get forgiven. Come on. None of them are good.
America first, which, I mean, he is. When he says America first, he stands by it. Like Marjorie Taylor Greene, they stand by it. That's called being principled. So I can respect him for that. Oh, no, he's so great.
So we're going to, speaking of Mexicans, we're going to talk about the Cuba topic. Why should we care about Cuba? There was a coalition in Miami. Trump spoke on it. The next target appears to be Cuba. Here we go.
Rubio is doing a great job. I think he's going to go down as the greatest Secretary of State in history. Look at what we've done as a presidency. Look at what we've done as an administration. They trust Marco, and so do the American people trust. He's been successful no matter where he's been. He also speaks the language, which is always nice and always helpful. But he's dealing, and it may be a friendly takeover. It may not be a friendly takeover. It wouldn't matter because they're really they're down to, as they say, fumes. They have no energy. They have no money. They're in deep trouble on a humanitarian basis. And we don't want to see that, but they were very, very bad to a lot of people, as you know, and a lot of people living the Cuban-American vote, which I got at record levels.
So, Mia, we done went from Greenland to Canada to Iran to Venezuela. To Venezuela to Iran. Now we're talking about Cuba. Does this benefit Americans, and is this America first?
Don't forget Ecuador. We went there too, allegedly. Ecuador. We can't forget Ecuador. Honestly, this just feels like a vendetta from like Marco Rubio. I know he's like descended from Cuban immigrants, so I feel like there's just some beef there that he's just trying to do, which I don't agree with. But honestly, like the whole thing's just ridiculous. We're doing everything but releasing the rest of the files, putting people in handcuffs, passing legislation. Donald Trump has not signed a single piece of legislation since the day he signed into office till today. Not a single one. They have passed nothing. Literally nothing. Not a single piece of legislation has made it through all three chambers. The only thing he has done in his presidency so far is one spending bill, which doesn't count. That's not actual legislation. Congress is supposed to pass a spending bill. That's their job. And a bunch of executive orders, which will be overturned for the next person. So for over a year, we have had not a single piece of legislation. We haven't had a single person in the Epstein's files arrested or anything like that. And we have 14 million kids that are starving. We have almost 800,000 now that are homeless on the streets, including veterans, women, children, and working families. So it seems like we're doing everything but helping Americans. It's astonishing to me that we have money for bombs, but we don't have money for formula. Like, that's fucking crazy, dude. We have money for bombs, but we don't have money for formula.
Like Tupac said.
Yeah. So that was clips I'm playing is showing you guys what it looks like in Cuba. I'm going to play this clip right here. This is someone explaining what's going on in Cuba.
In Havana, Cuba right now, and this is where you bring your rationing notebook to get one.
Oops, my bad, guys. Here we go.
This is the notebook right over here. This is where you bring your rationing notebook to get one piece of bread per day. This is the notebook right over here. And you show it over here. And then they'll give you one piece of bread. So you get one piece of bread, and then sometimes if they have extra, they'll give you one egg. Sometimes you'll only get a few eggs per month, not cartons, single eggs. And then if you're lucky, they might give you extras, but don't depend on it.
So unlike Iran, I will say I do believe a lot of Cubans probably want to be free. A lot of them come here in the 1990s. I grew up in Miami, Florida. There were boatloads of people coming. It was really, really bad. I will say I do believe they probably do want to be free. But Ratchet, is this America first? Does this benefit us? Should we liberate the Cubans?
Oh my goodness. First of all, thank you for finding and sharing that clip, because I didn't even know that is ready and willing. But at the same time, I don't believe in going into people's countries, usurping their authority, overthrowing their leadership. All nations have a right to self-determination. And Cuba decided what it was going to be lots and lots of decades ago. And if it wants change, I believe it should have change. But currently, the American people cannot afford to be everywhere, doing everything, helping everybody but the American people. Now is just not the time. So that's what I'm
So shout out to Selena. She's our friend. Actually, you met her. She said she's watching. I appreciate her watching. She said we should be watching for what the Marines are doing at the moment, specifically ones that are already staged. So that's good insight. We need to be my researchers on the team, Mia, Kimberly, go find what the Marines are doing. It's in the Marines. But this clip right here is for Gray. This is our future potential governor. This is what he had to say.
Stance on Cuba. Oh, listen, I've long wanted regime change. We have a brutal dictator, murderous communist regime in Cuba. They have destroyed the liberty of the Cuban people for almost, definitely 2 generations. We're now going on the 3rd. They needed to go long ago.
You think the president should be involved in that policy?
First, knowing Donald Trump, he's involved in every policy. Just because one source said something doesn't make it so.
Thanks.
So Gray, what is your thoughts? Do you think as a Floridian that we should want to help Cuba for many reasons? I spoke to a Cuban American, actually, Mika, you can get her opinion tomorrow. We talked about this. Mika's actually Cuban, and she mentioned to me, she brings up some good points. Cuba is very close to Florida, which is very close to America. It's only 90 miles away from Key West. So the friend of my what's the thing you say, Mia? A friend of my friend is my enemy. So nevertheless, I don't know if you all know. Say it. Go ahead and say it.
Oh my God. Now you put me on the spot. I can't think of it. The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
My enemy is my friend. Nevertheless, I don't know if you guys know this, but they do military drills every year with Russia. Okay. Every year, Russia does these military drills 90 miles off the coast of the United States. So based on that and knowing what we know, what is your thoughts, Gray? Do you think we should help these people or keep them as an enemy?
Well, we've been doing this with Cuba since JFK. It was the Bay of the Pigs when they tried to sneak the people in, and then the people got caught, and then they got arrested. And for me personally, my first Spanish teacher was Cuban. And I remember her telling me that she had to fly all the way somewhere else just to be able to fly back to Cuba. But if we talk about Obama had lifted a lot of stuff with Cuba. I remember, because we are in Florida, we have a lot of cruise ports. I remember people were excited because they were like, oh, we get to go on a cruise to Cuba, this and that. So we were normalizing relations. And then it was like sound waves or something, they said, hit some tourists or something. And then that's when Trump came in and then he pushed back on the progress that we have with Cuba. But Cuba's a communist country, to answer your question, and Russia's a communist country, but Russia and Cuba have had relations since Fidel Castro. And if we look at what was happening in Cuba before, it was the Italian mafia that had all their gambling and all their businesses there, and the government was corrupt. And that's why Fidel Castro was able to gain power, because Fidel Castro was the bastard son of a wealthy Spanish farm owner, and he was housed with Haitian immigrants and people that were poor, so he understood poor people, became a lawyer, and that's why you have all these Cubans coming here in an influx to America, specifically South Florida.
Well, I'm going to have Kimberly react to this last clip, and then we'll go into closing thoughts. This is what this young man had to say about Cuba.
Nelson Mandela of South Africa got out of prison. Guess which country was the first one he visited? Cuba.
I knew that. Ooh.
When COVID-19 was ravaging the entire world, which country was sending doctors to treat and assist patients? Cuba. Who provided refuge for Assata Shakur and Robert F. Williams, two revolutionary black leaders? Cuba. Who was willing to provide assistance to black folks during Hurricane Katrina when we were being treated like dogs? Cuba. Who was protecting Nicolas Maduro and lost dozens of troops? Cuba. Who has been training a lot of countries' doctors, especially in the Caribbean? Cuba. Who was providing asylum to hundreds of Brazilians who were fleeing the brutal military dictatorship that was ruling the country for over 2 decades? Cuba. So for the rest of the world to not lift their finger while Cuba is under a blockade is morally bankrupt. A lot of y'all would not be where y'all are if it wasn't for Cuba. Cuba could have easily sold out its allies under Henry Kissinger, and Cuba refused to do so. Cuba did not have to sacrifice lives in Angola. They did it though. So for the world to not circumvent the U.S. when it comes to providing Cuba with fuel and solar and renewable energy is mind-boggling. Because a lot of countries believe that if they just don't rock the boat, they're not going to get tariffs. The U.S. is going to find a way to tariff you. So why don't you actually push back and tell the U.S. there are consequences for their actions?
So I just have to say, I want to tell a little quick story, and then I'll let Kimberly go. My family is I'm half Jamaican. My family's Jamaican on my mother's side. They left Jamaica because of Cuba, because there were fears that communism was coming to Jamaica. So I don't know. People have this idea and this fantasy about communism. I'm just speaking from my own experience. It ain't what you want. And that's just what I wanted to add. But go ahead, Kimberly. What did you agree with in that video? And what did you disagree with, if anything?
Yeah, so I'm not communist, and Cuba's not fully communist either. What was lifted from Cuba that helped momentarily the population of Cuba was the lifting of having them declared as sponsors of terrorism. There's been a blockade in Cuba for over 60 years. It's a collective punishment. The Lancet study that I've been citing ad nauseum says that since 1970, economic sanctions alone, which are a type of warfare, have killed over 38 million people. That includes people in Cuba. And my heart goes out to the people in Cuba. I'm not communist, but if we're going to let communism fail, let's lift the blockade on Cuba. Let communism fail on its own. Narco Rubio was trafficking drugs as a teenager with his brother-in-law, including exotic animals. His family actually left before the Cuban Revolution. So a lot of the Cuban diaspora, I have a lot of Cuban friends, saludos a mis amigos cubanos. A lot of the Cuban diaspora here in the United States are going to be more conservative. You know, it'd be similar to like if right now during the Trump administration, you get a lot of liberals exiting, and a lot of the expat liberals are going to be talking shit about the United States, right? So Trump put back in the declaration of Cuba as a sponsor of terrorism. The United States is the biggest sponsor of terrorism in the world by far. Also, one little minor correction from that guy there in that video, the world actually does speak out against the blockade in Cuba. Every single year, almost every single country votes to end the blockade in Cuba because it's what's impoverishing these people. It's a collective punishment. But because the United States at the United Nations has veto power every year, the United States and Israel vote to keep the blockade on Cuba. It's what's keeping them poor. It's not communism. And again, I'm not communist. Communism is inherently atheist. It's inherently authoritarian. It stifles individuality. It stifles creativity. So I'm not trying to defend communism here. But the reason why little narco Rubio, and a lot of the conservative diaspora Cubanos want to get, they have like this sort of they want to get rid of the Cuban government there now, because before the Cuban Revolution and Fidel Castro, there were a lot of oligarchs that owned a lot of land, and the Castros went in and took those land and gave it to the people. Also, really quickly, I'm sorry, I'm really passionate about Cuba, but a lot of the trade negotiations that Cuba has with other countries, like with Mexico, is a trade of doctors. Cuba trains a lot of doctors, and they provide humanitarian doctor program, and that's why Mexico was able to, or at least through their agreement, to provide oil to the population of Cuba, which again helps the people of Cuba. And I have my cousin, he's one of my closest cousins. He went to Cuba like 5 years ago, and he told me it was the saddest thing he has ever seen. And I need everybody to understand that Cuba is the way it is because they have had a brutal blockade and sanction for over 60 years. I think the 63 years anniversary of the blockade in Cuba. And Code Pink, along with other organizations, is putting together this huge event, I believe, in Nevada on March 21st to stand up and speak up for the people of Cuba. Again, war is always bad. I'm completely against war, and we need to just honestly leave Cuba alone. It's why they went after Venezuela, because they knew Venezuela was providing a lot of the oil to that very, very poor island.
That's a very good explanation, my little leftist on the panel. Guys, if you're watching, please hit that notification bell so you know when we go live. And guys, before I allow the team to do our closing thoughts, we have a team trip we are doing in April. We are making a documentary. Everybody you see here tonight will be a part of the documentary. Ratchet, good friend of the show, is also coming. She will be a part of the documentary. Maybe we'll have her do some comedy. We'll talk about that because I'm working on what the videos are going to be. Yes. Kim will be there. Mia will be there. And plus a few other members of our team. But we need help, y'all. We need help. Please go to the GoFundMe. Please give. Guys, we never ask. We don't sit here. We don't push super chats all night. We don't beg for money all night. Y'all hang out with us every night. So y'all can at least send $5. We are at 8,900 subscribers right now. Everybody send $1. We would exceed our budget, exceed our goal. So I need everybody to go to the GoFundMe. Please start giving. Y'all gonna hear me every night till we make this goal, because we got to raise this $5,000, honey. We can do it. Y'all see y'all see what gas prices are like. I want to cover everyone's rooms. We are covering everybody's food already. Please, I'm begging you. Me and Gray, we spend our own money week after week for 2 years now, where we barely made profit. I'll be open and honest with y'all. And we never ask for anything. Y'all can at least give $1 and support the team, because when the new party grows, Mia grows, Kimberly grows, Ratchet grows. Support the team, Enzo grows. I know a lot of y'all that are fans of Enzo's in the chat. We never asked for anything. If everyone gave $1, we could meet and exceed our goal. And our team, flights are expensive, guys. Like, seriously, I'm going to start crying on here every night because y'all can at least give $1. Like, seriously, I will never ask for anything. Go ahead, Boo.
If I can add to that, if you guys send $50, I'll send you a picture of my feet.
Kimberly is gorge. Kimberly is gorge. We are working on big things for Kimberly and Nia.
Really?
Nia's been on Anton Daniel's show. Oh my God. She's, Kimberly, we're working on getting her on some leftist panels. So this is opening up doors for people on our team. And don't you want to say you were part of the team from the beginning, guys? Please, I'm begging you. But anyways, Kimberly, since you are willing to send the feet pics on behalf of the team, go ahead and go first.
I will. I have really pretty feet. I have pretty hands and I have pretty feet. I really liked this episode. I wish Enzo was here just to hear him talk about how great Donald Trump is. There's absolutely nothing great about Donald Trump. Also, I'm thinking about getting chin filler because I like how this looks. Do you guys like that? My chin's still a little swollen on this side. I kind of like that.
Look what he said about you. You're one of your fans.
I knew there was something about it. What did he say? I don't. What about me? Oh, my feet. I don't know. I don't even know what I was going to say. I'm so embarrassed to ask. Yeah, my politics are the politics of Jesus. Peace, love, humanity. If I am wrong, let me be wrong on the side of life and love. And I send you all positive energy. There's a lot going on in the world. Send you all my thank you. Sorry, I got nervous.
Okay. You're done, Kim? All right.
I think so. Yeah.
Mia, what's your closing thoughts?
First and foremost, great episode, great topics. I'm glad everybody's here. It was nice to have, I guess I'll call it ladies' night plus Gray. Thank you, everybody in the chat. If you are not subscribed or following us, please do follow. Please do subscribe. We do this Monday through Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And all of our names, all of our usernames you can see in our tagline. So you can follow us too on various social medias. We're all on the popular ones. And I would say, first and foremost, there is a class war going on, and the rich never sacrifice their children. So when you go to vote or when you go to do anything, you need to remember that. The elites never send their sons and daughters to war. They never send their sons and daughters into the military. They never do any of that because they have stacked the system to where they don't have to. They send our children. So just be reminded of that it is a class war out there, and everything that these elitists and our leaders do is basically to help themselves, and very little of it is to help us.
That's deep. Mia, you hit it on the head. Ratchet, our beautiful guest. You have somebody in the chat that says, oh my God, who is that beautiful sister that calls herself the Ratchet Christian? Lord, I'm getting Issa Rae vibes. So true. I agree. Okay, so let everybody know where they can find you, Ratchet, and please let everyone know about your platform.
Well, first of all, I just want to say thank you all for having me on as a guest. I've been on here a few times, and I just absolutely love being a part of this panel, being a part of the show. It's so balanced, even if it seems like, oh, tonight, like, oh, you guys are all, talking about Trump, whatever. No, this is a very balanced show, and I love that we present the information and then we get to share our opinions about it, because this is truly where the power lies. It's in us having conversations with each other. It's us pushing back against the narratives that the mainstream media is trying to push out there. It's thanks to independent journalism, and this is a part of independent journalism, that they're having a really hard time pushing the propaganda that they did 20 years ago to get us into Iraq. So this is a part of the work. Even the comment section, y'all in the chat cutting up, calling us mentally ill, doing all the things but I even welcome that, and I love that, and shout out to that person who called me beautiful, because hey, that's always nice. But even the ones who are saying that we're mentally ill, this is a part of that, because some of y'all in the chat, you may not be able to have these conversations with your friends, with your families, and so you might take this opportunity to insult us when you really could be taking this opportunity to have a productive conversation, which is what it is that we're trying to do now. And it's easy to leave a comment behind the anonymity of a chat, but we're putting our faces out there on the screen, let you know that we're real people, we're real opinions, and that we're doing the work behind the scenes. If we're giving our opinion, it's because we're also doing the work outside of this. And so I'm grateful to have a place to share my opinion with like-minded individuals, a place where I can respectfully disagree with people. And so if you all liked what I brought to the conversation, you can find me on all social media platforms. I've been engaging in the chat. I'm on YouTube at The Ratchet Christian. I'm on TikTok, Instagram at The Ratchet Christian. And I do comedy, political commentary, all the things. And I look forward to coming back. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. Kim, your friend sent a super chat. Give him a shout out and plug your stuff. You're muted, Boo. You're muted.
Thank you, friend. I don't know who that is, but he's my friend. Thank you. Please keep sending super chats. Share the video. Follow us on all of our social medias. I made a YouTube account the other day. Please follow me on YouTube. It's the same at Kimberly and Now everywhere. Thank you. We love super chats. We'll see you at the. Is there going to be audience in Florida or no?
Yes, I will explain what we're doing after Gray goes.
We'll see you in Florida, friend.
Yeah, y'all go check out Kimberly's stuff. She is giving you that leftist opinion. She's funny. She makes joke skits. So go support her and support Ratchet if you want to laugh. Gray, what's your closing thoughts?
I think one of the greatest things about a new party is the people that come on here and are political commentators. Like, we have a man cave show Monday and Wednesday, but I was the only guy here, so I stepped back like a gentleman and let the ladies just take over the show. And it's not a lot of places where you're going to see, just women just debating political stuff. So I feel like that's important about the new party, because we talked about race last night. It's people from all different races. Thank you, Ratchet, for coming. I loved your story about war. Like, it's great to hear people speak from a personal place because it helps you understand it a lot more. So we'll be back here tomorrow with Mika. I'll let Nora explain all of that. Like we always say on a new party, always vote.
Yes, always vote. Guys, thank you so much to our team. Shout out to Ratchet. Ratchet came on when we had like 3,000-4,000 subs, honey. She believed in it. She came through, and the team has just evolved. Could not do this without our team. So shout out to Kimberly. Shout out to Mia. Shout out to Enzo. Shout out to Andre Williams, Kamal, Rippy, who am I forgetting? Slim, Doc, and Skeptic. Ken and Skeptic. Let me not forget them too. So we could not do this without them. So thank you for subscribing. So guys, if you enjoyed tonight, you are definitely going to enjoy tomorrow night. We have someone very, very special coming onto the show. Mika, aka Mika Pop Culture Mika, will be coming on, aka now the Messy Conservative. So you definitely want to come and support her. Please, please, please come support her. She was on Tasha K recently, so she's been doing big things. So come back tomorrow. She will explain. We'll be talking about the culture war. We'll be talking about, did MAGA and Republicans lose the midterms before it even happened with this? So she'll be explaining why they have not. We also were on BBC together. You guys can go check that video out. We were interviewed by BBC Radio, so definitely go and support. But let's talk about this documentary real quick. Okay, this documentary real quick. We got a documentary coming in June, okay? If you guys give money on our GoFundMe below, those of you that give money, you will be getting credited in our closing credits. Go to the GoFundMe right now. I need everybody to give $1. I know gas is expensive, but we really appreciate y'all. The team, we will be doing in real life content in a real studio. We will be interviewing the team. What does politics mean to you? We will be asking everybody about their story, their backstory. Why did they get into political content? Where do they see the future of America? So it's very, very important. Very, very important. Okay. Again, support us. We appreciate you. So yes, we will be in a professional studio making content for you, as well as having, camaraderie. You get to know us on a more personal level. Like Ratchet said, we are real people. So please support us. We got big things coming. Also, guys, Sunday night, we have a big debate. We have the moderator for Opinionated Girl coming to debate Andre on anti-Semitism and why it's rising among the youth. Andre will be saying why he doesn't think it is anti-Semitism to be critical, but they will be having people there defending and saying, hey, y'all are going a little bit too far with this. This is where we go into the anti-Semitic realm. So definitely, please come back. Please. Kimberly says she'll be watching it. So anyways, guys, have a good night. God bless. Stay safe.
Before we wrap, I want to take a quick moment to talk about how you can support the new party. We are an independent media platform. No corporate backers, no political handlers, just a collection of voices representing all American viewpoints, especially the stories they don't want you talking about.
I'm disgusted with our government, and it doesn't matter which party you're talking about. I'm disgusted.
We are watching an active genocide. I don't know how else to put it. There are thousands of people getting killed every day.
This is the first time in history that an American cardinal has ever been elevated to pope. It is legitimately make America great again.
Yeah.
Like, they're fighting for illegal immigrants, not immigrants. Illegal. Like, and they burning the flag and shit.
Like I always say, it was a great episode. I'm happy with the wins that Donald Trump's.
Like you heard Nora Skeptic say, we're going to keep bringing like different types of content and things that we know people want to see. And like we always say on the New Party, always vote.
If you believe Americans can still have civil discourse, even in these polarizing times, we need your help to stay independent and keep growing. You can support us by donating to our GoFundMe page, becoming a channel member, sending a super chat, or grabbing merch from the New Party store. Every donation goes directly toward growing the channel promotion and our upcoming documentary. And as a thank you, donors will receive an exclusive copy of the documentary 1 week before it premieres. Who is the New Party? We're you, your voice, your stories, your America. We can only do this together. So if you're able, please donate and help us get the message out.